So we will get started. I still need to end at 12, but because there's something else right after that, but let's get going on this. I'm going to put a link in the chat to the seminars playbook. I don't know if you guys have played around with the playbooks at all. Have you guys seen any of them so far?
I just saw the one you just put in there.
I've seen a few.
Yeah, okay, good. Yeah, the playbooks, Kelly Williams has designed these and they're great. Really, really, really super helpful. So we'll be kind of going through this whole seminars playbook today. And we won't get through the whole thing. It's a really long playbook and we just have a short time, but I put the link in the chat. If you are interested in seeing the other playbooks, they're available on, if you go to KWL Impact, our website, and go into the agent portal, there's other playbooks there as well, to check out. So let's get started. So I'm Kirsten and coach and trainer here at Legacy. And so tell me, before we even do anything else, what have you guys done so far with seminars? Has anybody hosted a seminar before?
I haven't.
Nope. Anybody else?
No, I haven't either.
Okay, well, there, it's kind of nice when everybody's sort of in the same the same group. So the thing about seminars, I'm switching kind of to the first page just to talk about this for a second, is seminars are an opportunity for you to lead gen, really make connections, talk to potential buyers and sellers in just a more efficient way, right? So this is saying we each have a certain amount of time every day. A seminar is a great way for you to be able to talk to multiple people at the same time, and also leverage the seminar as part of your lead gen. So just to kind of get started, what are some opportunities that you can think of where you would get to be making phone calls, texting, communicating, social media, whatever about your seminar? Any ideas?
You said, what are some opportunities where we could do a seminar?
Yeah, I probably wasn't a clear question. So here's kind of where I was going with this, is that what it kind of says in this paragraph is that we're in a shifting market right now. And because of that, we need to really double down on our lead gen. We need to talk to more people than we ever have. And seminars are a great way for you to talk to many, many, many more people, not only the people who attended in person, but leading up to the seminar, you're going to be reaching out to advertise it. After the seminar, you're going to be following up. So it's a terrific way for you to really connect with a greater number of people. Like it says in the playbook, a lot of these might be top of the funnel people. And what top of the funnel means is somebody who's maybe not ready to do business immediately, right? And that's fine. That works for us. I mean, obviously we love the immediate buyer or seller, but someone, that is much later is we value that too, because we're going to need business in 6 months, 9 months, 12 months. So why seminars? Scalability. I can talk to 40 people at once in a virtual seminar or an in-person seminar where I'm not going to be able to do that, door knocking or at an open house or anything else. I can do this all at one time. From a brand awareness standpoint, I have a great opportunity there to reach out to everybody that I know and people that I haven't met yet. I might be doing social media posts, talking about my, maybe it's a home buyer seminar or a home seller seminar, whatever it happens to be. I'll do social media posts about it. I'll be calling people about it, texting people about it. They might get an email invite. So there's going to be a big lead up to my seminar, and I'll be able to really leverage that, as lead gen. I'll end up with hot leads, people who are ready to transact in the next couple of months, nurture leads who are not in the next couple of months, but sometime in the next year. And then also some people who are just sort of curious, and I'm just going to keep track of them over time. I love this playbook because it really breaks down the steps of how to host a seminar. So the first thing is to understand your audience and pick a seminar topic. And I'm going to do that right now. Just the picking the topic. If you were to hold a seminar of some sort, any ideas about what you might do? You don't have to be committed to it yet. At the end of the time, we're going to actually choose one. But for right now, are there some ideas that you have about what you might do?
Partner with a vendor.
Yeah. And what type of seminar do you think you'd hold?
I think home. I think a lot of people focus on home buyers, and that's good because there may be more buyers out there.
Yeah.
But home sellers or home buyers, I don't know.
Okay. I like it, Vivian. Anybody else? What type of seminar do you think you would want to host?
First time home buyer.
First time home buyer. Okay.
Yeah, I was going to say first time home buyers. Maybe just bringing people in, just a seminar, just giving people information about the process of buying a house.
Yeah. Okay, so we got home buyer, we got home seller. Any other ideas?
I was gonna say a home seller seminar and maybe like have it centered around ways to like invite an interior designer or a stager and make it one about staging your home to sell or something like that.
Brianna, you have read ahead in this playbook. That's one of the suggestions in here, so you were right on with that. All right, I love it. So anyway, what we do when we're planning a seminar is we start out by choosing what our topic is, and then and also who that audience is. So we've talked about buyers and sellers. So maybe my audience is people who want to sell their home. Maybe it's people who are buyers, or maybe it's specific types of buyers. Maybe it's about first-time home buyers, or maybe it's about how to buy and sell a home at the same time. So I'm going to choose an audience and a seminar topic at the beginning. And then from there, I need to start planning. I need to choose, is this going to be a virtual or an in-person event? Those are going to have some pluses and minuses with each one, which we'll go over in a second. I'm going to need to set a budget, which can be pretty small or it could be big. If you're an agent here at Legacy, you can use this classroom that I'm in right now for your seminar if you want to, at no cost. So that really, really, really helps with your budget. Sometimes people have had to, host someone. Sometimes people host them elsewhere. You might have food and drinks as part of your seminar. You might have a prize at the end. So, you have some kind of budget for that. Establish event cadence. What's meant by that is that there are a lot of agents who do this on a regular basis. Some people host, a quarterly home buyer seminar or a monthly home buyer seminar or home seller seminar. So going into it, maybe you want to think about, is this something that I'm going to do repeatedly, just so that I have consistency? That's what's meant by the cadence. I'll need some presentation materials. Something that I'm going to show in maybe the PowerPoint, maybe I'll have a handout. I'll need something to show or give my attendees. And then I'd like to find a partner. A partner could be like Brianna suggested. If I'm doing a home selling seminar, maybe it's a stager. If I'm doing a home buying seminar, maybe it's a lender. I want somebody who's going to do this with me to provide a couple of things. First of all, they may help out with your budget. They may bring the food. They may bring a prize, something like that. They may have handouts that you can give. So that partner is going to be super important for you to be able to make this successful. And then once I've done that, I'll set up some kind of registration form and invite my database, and then I'll start promoting it. I'll market the event, maybe it's using Eventbrite, maybe it's inviting people that are in my sphere. You know, maybe I'll be running some Facebook advertising to reach out to some people. So I'll have to choose some ways to market it. And then contact everybody who's registered. And then I can host it. We're going to get into the tips for a winning seminar and some best practices. And then we're going to start talking about follow up with the people who attended, the people who said they were going to attend and didn't. And then we'll get into prospecting and marketing. So like I said, this is a lot. We'll cover this in brief today. I put the link to this in the chat. I'm going to do that again, just in case anybody joined after that, because it never shows up to the people who join later. But you know, you can certainly download this PDF, print it out if you want. If you are in the office sometime, I do have some copies here. I'd be happy to hand you one, and just I'll leave them in my office if you'd like some. Right, so let's talk about choosing your seminar. We already had a couple ideas: buyer seminar, seller seminar. So we need to select a topic that's timely, something that people either need to know, right? There's information that they don't know, or there's something they kind of know about, but you're telling them a little bit more about it. I'm going to either solve a problem for them or give them an opportunity. So here's the examples that you already kind of said. So first time homebuyer workshop. And I'd actually say maybe even not just first time homebuyer. Why not just make it a buyer workshop? You can have a bigger audience if you do that. The audience for that might be renters, could be other buyers, home sellers workshop. Here's one on mortgage hacks. A lot of people are concerned about mortgages right now. That mortgage hack sounds like a great idea to me. Especially if you get a lender partner, you'd want a lender partner for that one. How about an investor workshop? You know, maybe the audience for that would be people who don't currently invest in real estate, or maybe they have invested a tiny bit but want to improve their investments. That would be a great one. And then real estate planning for older adults. So those are some ideas here. You might even think of some others. And then you go into planning it. So virtual, in person, which one would you do? Can anybody think of what are some things you would think about that might make a difference to you about whether you're doing it in person or virtual? What do you think would be the advantages and disadvantages? I'm just gonna grab water, I'll be right back.
I think in person, you could be a bit more engaged with make a connection with the people.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, more engagement with in person. Love it, love it.
I think with virtual, it allows more flexibility with people who might not be able to be there because they have to work, or because they, have things to do on the weekend, or whenever you have your seminar. It just allows, for more people to attend.
During COVID, I was doing some virtual homebuyer seminars because that was the way to do it at that point. Now it's nice to have the option, doing each one. Any other further thoughts about which one, you think is better, or what advantages or disadvantages they might have?
Sorry, go ahead. I was gonna just say, I feel like a lot, like now, because of the COVID era, a lot of people are doing stuff hybrid, so just, they have the option of being in person, but also joining on live, or they stream it so that they can still have those people that just don't want to make that drive or something. Yeah.
Good.
I was gonna say, I think the other, benefit of virtual is people are more comfortable in their own space.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so they don't have to feel like they're right in the face, or maybe minimize some anxiety about being, going through that process of not feeling like compelled to start thinking about or meeting with the lender. I think some people get nervous about meeting with lenders. So I think the virtual thing may just minimize some of that anxiety and just allow people to be more comfortable because they're in their own space.
Okay. I love it. Thank you. Okay, there are no other comments about that. I'm just gonna scroll down to what we have in the playbook here, which you guys really kind of picked out exactly what's listed right here. Virtual, it's cheap, right? I don't need to, well, you wouldn't have to pay for space because you have it here. But it's a low cost way to do it. You don't need much lead time. You can reach a broader reach, right? So I could host a buyer seminar and people from anywhere can join it. Even if they were out of state and I connected with them, I can still refer them out, right? It's easy for people. And also, here's one thing, the playbook that we didn't talk about is that you could record that and then share it. It would be an item of content that you have that you can, use from now on. Some downsides to that, there can be technology problems. Sometimes people can't, log in. I experienced that doing virtual buyer seminars as people sometimes would join and then be dropping out. Less personal connection, right? Sometimes I would see people, kind of talking to their kids at the same time, or maybe not committing as much to it because it was so easy to get in and didn't really connect as well. No control over the environment and distractions, 100%. And then loss of authority and prestige that standing in a front room can bring. There's some advantage to having people come into the office and see the space, right? That gives you a little bit of, it shows that you are an authority just because you have the space. In person, some advantages, better communication because you're in person. You can build a stronger relationship with that client for sure. When you're on Zoom, people can be pretty anonymous and they might, if they don't choose to participate, they might not get as much out of it and you might not get much of a relationship with them. More control over the environment and distractions, and it gives you a little bit more authority. Some downsides, higher costs in the form of space, refreshments, and materials. So here, luckily, we have this wonderful training room. So if you use this space, you don't have that cost, but you probably would have some cost for refreshments and maybe probably not materials if you use the copier here, but maybe you'd have something else you're handing out. You have a space, we don't have that downside here, but harder to get people to commit to travel. I think was it Brianna or Vivian who mentioned, I'm not sure which now, a lot of people, I think it was Vivian, just like to stay in their house, right? And if getting people to make that drive may be a little harder. Yeah, so you have both of those options, or like we talked about before, you could even do a hybrid, where people are in both. I'll say as somebody, I do this all the time, training hybrid, both virtual and person, and I find that it's a lot harder to pay attention to the people who are there virtually when there's people in person. Here's some best practices for hosting virtual events. I'm not going to read through the whole thing. You have the handout, but just a lot of good tips about having a virtual event. One thing I will point out is having a partner. Whenever I'm doing a class where I think I'll have a lot of people, I often ask somebody else to just let people into the Zoom room because it's so hard to do both of those things at one time. Some in-person best practices, get an accessible venue and figure out how you want your seating to be. It might be in groups, maybe you want people to be able to discuss things, maybe it's set up so that you're on the stage talking to them like we have in our classroom here. Refreshments and handouts. And it's telling you to make sure to practice with audio visual equipment. That's a very good idea. Very good idea, because sometimes we don't know how to use all of that equipment. Don't assume it's going to be easy. Set the budget. So plan ahead for your budget. You might have costs for a venue if you're not using the training room here. You might have costs for your refreshments. If you're hosting it on Zoom, you might have costs to upgrade your Zoom account to include more people, that potential cost. And then door prizes and giveaways. I think door prizes and giveaways are a great idea. It definitely gets people who are on the fence to kind of join in. So has anybody given away a prize at something that they hosted before?
Could you repeat the question? I'm sorry.
I was just asking if people have used prizes before in something.
Oh yeah, I did I've done like a giveaway before. Like if you register and give your phone number, email, name, you get like
And did you get
$25.
more people from doing that?
I feel like, yeah. But that didn't necessarily, I feel like whenever you do that though, you have to be very specific. So like one time I did it and the person that registered didn't even show up to the seminar, but I didn't
Yeah.
specify, that you also had to be in attendance. So
That's
yeah.
a good, very good point. Absolutely. Yeah, it's funny. I did. I had a booth at the Towson Town Festival when the brokerage did the booth. I had a time slot, and I had Orioles tickets as my giveaway, and I attract a lot of people came and talked to me just because of the Orioles tickets. So sometimes it can be good. So something to think about. Something to think about. So they say an average in-person event costs between $50 and $1,000 based on those factors. They're assuming that you need to rent space instead of being able to use it for free like we have here. So probably it's not going to be that expensive, right? You'll probably have some refreshments. You might have a giveaway. So we're not talking about a great expense in either way. But definitely partnering with a vendor would help out in the expense, and also just having, materials. When I was doing Zoom home buyer seminars during COVID, the lender actually had a whole PowerPoint all ready to go. So all I had to do was kind of show up and participate. I didn't have to prepare any of that. So definitely think about a vendor, and they may have done this before and already had some stuff. We talked about the cadence. How often are you going to hold, this event? The best practice is really to do it monthly, because then when you advertise it, you're going to have people who don't attend one time, maybe they're unavailable that month, or they just forget about it for whatever reason. If they know that it's coming up again, you'll be able to keep them on the radar and get them into the next one.
Right. I was going to ask about timing, like, is there a best time? But if you say doing them monthly, does it matter? Is there like a specific set of months, is, leading up to tax season or spring, or?
So we know there's a lot of buyers in the spring, right? But a lot of times people are thinking about buying even before that happens. So I personally think that the monthly would be your best option, because then you're catching people where they are. People often host them on Saturdays or Sundays. Weekend is a pretty popular time to host, especially if it's in person. You'll get a lot better attendance that way. Does that answer your question?
Yes.
Especially there's this pro tip down here that I'm making sure I mention. This might be one of your top 3 lead sources. We talk all the time about that everybody should have 3 lead sources. This might be one for you. And if that's going to be one of your top lead sources, do it weekly instead of just once a month. You do it all the time. Maybe you alternate buyers and sellers. You might grab one of these handouts right here. Maybe you alternate buyers and sellers. Maybe you throw that mortgage tax. Maybe there's multiple topics you're doing, but gosh, if you did them weekly, you would really get good at it, and you would know what you're doing each time. It wouldn't be so difficult each time you did it. Okay, presentation materials. You're going to need something, right? Something, a PowerPoint, you're going to need handouts. PDFs you can share. Again, I mentioned before, if you partnered with a lender or a home stager, they're likely going to be able to help you with some handouts. So that would take a lot of work off of you if they've already got something there for you. To save on time, I'm not going to go through every one of these, pieces of what needs to be in it. But that's something really to consider, is getting a really good handout that's going to be useful to that person. They'll be able to take it with them later and, be value added. And like we talked about, find a partner, right? So here's Brianna already said exactly what this is saying. If it's a home sellers workshop, maybe it's a photographer or home stager about how you make the home ready. I was even thinking it wouldn't be a bad idea to have a home inspector, as even if it's a seller, right? A home inspector could be a good partner for either a buyer or a seller. Lender would be a great partner if you're doing a buyer seminar. You want to have chemistry with that person. And then in the next section over on page 12, there's some links for you. So that's why I put the PDF in the chat. Make sure you click on some of these links. There's more stuff for you. There's all kinds of information on all of our Keller Williams resources. So take a chance, when you have a chance, click on some of these links. There's some more notes that might be of help to you. Okay. Inviting people, right? So we've decided on what seminar we're doing. We've picked a partner and we set a date, and we've started planning. Maybe we've started working on some handouts. Maybe we've figured out what refreshments we're going to do. Maybe we have a prize. Next step is to start to invite people. You want a large turnout, and you probably are going to have a lot of people who sign up for your event that don't show up. Especially if you are putting it on Eventbrite and Facebook and all these places with strangers, they see it, they're interested, they sign up, they forget about it, right? That's fine. We want to have some kind of publicly searchable platform. Eventbrite would be a great place to do that. Or Meetup, or maybe both of those. Those would be both great places to advertise your seminar. But do it other places as well. Put it on Facebook, put it on LinkedIn. Anywhere you can advertise it, the better. I've even run Facebook ads for my seminar to just try to get some, new people in. The nice thing about doing it on something like Eventbrite is you're just going to reach all kinds of people that you don't know. And that's really the point, is I want to invite strangers to come to it so that I'm adding to my database. And then once they register on Eventbrite, you're going to set it up so that you get their name, phone number, and email. Now you've got their contact info. They're in your command. You're going to be following up with them, forever until they tell you to stop or they buy something at this point. You also want to invite your database. Okay, so what I would do if I were doing a seminar, I'm going to make a smart plan, right? That's going to send text messages and emails to everybody that's in my database, telling them about the event. There's in the library, there are things there, steal what's there, modify it for yourself. And then we want to call people, right? So I'm going to call anybody that's in my circle of influence just to see, just to invite them to it. Even if I don't think they are necessarily interested in buying a home or selling a home, they may know somebody who is. So I'm still going to just invite everybody to it. You just never know. And I feel like it gives you a good reason to call somebody. Do you ever feel like, okay, I got to do my monthly phone call to this person, my quarterly phone call. I don't even know what I'm saying to them, gives you a good thing you need to talk about. Hey, I just want to call you. I'm having a home seller seminar on the 3rd at blah, 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 blah. Gives me a good reason to talk to them. And post it on social media for sure. These things at the bottom, reference, check, play 4, 5, 6, 7, and 1. Those will take you to some links that talk about how you can do this with command. So I'm not going to go through those right now. but on your own, next step is to promote it. Okay, this is really where you want to focus a lot of attention. Your marketing materials have to say, of course, what the topic is, the date, time, location, and be engaging to get people to attend your seminar. How many of you were at the Chat GPT class a couple of weeks ago? Anybody there? Were you there, Mike? Oh, you were going, right? Was anybody else there?
I was there.
I was there.
Okay, Vivian was there. Okay, good. Well, and in that class, one of the things we did was we had Chat GPT write us a plan for hosting a seminar, and it was amazing what we ended up with. And it fits right in with what's this, is that it gave us sort of a marketing plan. And that's what we need to think about, is in the month leading up to it and the month after it, we really want to focus on telling people about our event, and then afterward following up with people both who attended it and didn't attend to it. You know, to make sure that we have all of those touches with them. And here's some great ideas about how to do it. Post it on your personal and business social media. Add it to, if you run a newsletter, run some paid social ads, drop off flyers, right? Like, what if you printed out some flyers about it and left them at the library or the grocery store, or, you know, wherever you're able to leave flyers, you'll find some more people, and, you know, run some ads in some community things. Do as much promotion as you can to really get the word out, so that you have some a good number of attendees. There's some examples here of some advertisements. They all have a QR code on them, inviting people so that they can click on that link. If you're not aware of it, you can, in Google Chrome, on any page, right click and choose create QR code. So you can create a QR code for anything by yourself in a second. So put that QR code on all of your printed materials, you know, so that people can register right away. All right, we're gonna make sure we've got every registered guest. We're gonna remind them about it. We're gonna send them an email, we're gonna send them a text, make sure we're reminding a couple of days before, a couple of hours before, so that they show up for it. And if it's virtual, you're gonna do it like 15 or 10 minutes beforehand also. All right, and then we're actually gonna host it. So here's some great tips for having a really good seminar. First, to create an environment by telling them you want participation. If people are willing to participate, that's going to make such a big difference for you having success. So what are some ways that you think you could get people to participate? The ideas?
Guess you can create some kind of activity or
Yeah, I like it. Vivian, some kind of activity, right? Okay, right, like a home buyer seminar, maybe there's an activity about what types of home they want or something like that, right? I love it, love it. What else we got? Activity, what else? How about polls, right? Just if you're on Zoom, you could do some kind of poll so that everybody answers, you know, when do you have to buy, you know, just maybe let's find out what the group thinks, you know, how many people are buying now, how many people in 6 months, you know, what area, some kind of, if you can get people to engage, if they're talking to you, they're paying more attention to you, you know.
Yeah.
Like I'm trying to do right now.
You can get more information from the
Yeah,
audience.
absolutely. Absolutely. You can get more. If you have a buyer sitting there and they're talking to their kid, instead of paying attention to you, you know, you don't get to form that relationship. If you can get them to talk to you about the home they want, you're going to have a more successful seminar. Yeah, so set the stage by introducing yourself, make sure they know who your partner is in this, so that partner is also a resource to them. Introduce them to, have them introduce themselves to each other, especially if it's in person. They'll feel more engaged if they've met people there, even they'll feel more connected to you, even if they're talking to other people. They'll enjoy their experience more. And I always want to make note of who attended, who didn't, so that when I'm following up, I'm going to be able to say, thanks for attending, or sorry you weren't able to attend. I want to be able to be accurate in that. Practice. You know, especially if you don't do very much public speaking, practice so that you're not fumbling over your words, so that you're not nervous, you'll feel more prepared. Super important to do some practice. Make sure everybody has your contact info and leave some time for questions. So those are some just really good tips in general for whatever type of seminar it is. And then we really, really, really need to follow up. So here's a sample of a follow-up email. I would have something in the mail to them too. I'm going to do email, text. I'm probably going to send them a note, might call. So really, really follow up. Not all of those in the same day, but maybe over the next month, you're going to follow up in all of those ways with each attendee. Because I want to find out, you know, who's ready to buy or sell right now, who's in 6 months. I want to know their timeline. I want to know what they're looking for. I want to know their personal situation so that I can be the best help for them. Okay, so running out of time, so here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna take 5 minutes, be really quick. And in this 5 minutes, choose an event you're gonna do this fall. And choose the month you're gonna do it. You don't have to have the date picked yet. Just pick a month. And then figure out the first 3 things you need to do in your seminar. So we're just gonna take about 5 minutes, and then I'll come back to you in 5 minutes just to hear what you've thought of. I'm going to put those instructions in the chat just in case. So we're going to choose an event. Choose a month this fall. And what are the first 3 steps? Okay, take a few minutes. Let me know if you have any questions, and I'll just hang out here while you're thinking about it. Write them down. You don't need the whole 5 minutes, and you have your idea picked. Just shout it out. I want to hear what everybody's doing. Anybody have an event chosen yet?
I put a home buyer event in maybe November.
Okay.
It would probably be like an in-person
Okay.
event.
Yeah.
I would invite a lender to be able to talk to people about, you know, about financing and things like that.
Yes.
And just plan, the third thing would be to just plan the flow of the event, like the topics of conversation.
I like it. I like it. That sounds great. Thank you. Anybody else? Mike, you look like you have yours selected. You're the only in-person person. What would you do?
I don't know. I would, the first thing in my head was I wanted to do something like creative
Okay.
with it, like some kind of skit where I'm partnering with
Okay.
it would be a little like what I would do probably is do a little skit either with a random individual that is there or with one of the partners.
Yeah.
And just like a solid like minute or 2 minute skit or a skit that would be incorporated into the whole.
Okay. Can you guys on Zoom hear Mike's words, what he said?
Yes.
Okay, good. And would your seminar be for home buyers, home sellers, or something else?
It would be for home buyers.
Home buyers.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I would probably partner with the lender because I know the lenders more, but I mean, I would do probably lender and the home inspector.
Okay, lender and a home inspector.
Yeah.
Okay, I like it.
I mean, the more the merrier. The more the more
Yeah.
people I have, the more people can be involved in skits.
Yeah. Yeah. You gotta find which lender was willing to do a skit with you then, huh? All right, I like it. So far, home buyer. Anybody else? What else where are we doing? Yeah, I know, crickets. Anybody else, care to share which seminar they're doing? Sometimes on Zoom, people are driving or whatever, and it's hard to, hard to participate.
Yeah,
That's
like,
totally fine. All right, well, if you weren't able to speak and the homework, okay, so here's your homework then, is choose an event for this fall. And pick a month. I would do that today. Like, let's just get it on the books. October, November, whatever you're gonna do. Choose a month. Okay, choose your topic. And then start planning. Use this playbook. It's terrific. It really breaks it down step by step. If you need the link again, I put it in the chat a few times. I'm happy to do that again. If you come into the office, I have some printed out. I'm happy to hand one to you. Or if you lose it, you can find it on our website. So kwlimpact.com. You can find this playbook. You can also find other playbooks are right there ready for you to download. So you can just use them. But really plan it out well in advance so that you're taking advantage of all of those things. If you need the space here, you can use that for free. You need to email Alana and Lauren to book the space, make sure it's not being used by somebody else. And they're going to have you sign something, mostly saying that you'll clean up the room and pick up the trash afterwards, that kind of thing. But it's free for you to use. You should hold your seminar here instead of paying for something, unless you have another, option that, there's another space that makes sense to you. And like we said before, you're going to figure out your partners, figure out your budget, and then start marketing. You want a good 30 days to market this. I want to put it on Eventbrite. I want to do Facebook ads. I want to really get it out to all the strangers, and then also get it all out to all the people I already have in my database. And I'm going to leverage smart plans in Command to do that. That's the easiest way to do that, so that you're not having to personally do all those emails and texts. Command can do that for you and remind you when to call people. Great way to get all that in there. And then you'll start collecting all of those names as they come in. So some of them will be people you already have in your database. Hopefully you'll get a lot of strangers too, that you'll be able to add to your database and keep following up with them leading up to the seminar. Then we're going to host a great seminar, right? We're going to have some snacks. We're going to have our partner. Mike's doing his skit at the beginning. I think that'd be great if you did a skit. Don't you think people would be, they would be engaged, they'd be laughing.
At the beginning,
I love it.
it's what's going on?
It's a
And then,
great idea.
then
Yeah.
it kind of breaks the ice.
Breaks the ice. I love an icebreaker. So Mike's idea was a skit. Maybe you're going to do some kind of funny quiz at the beginning. Maybe something just to break the ice. Hold a great event, practice it so that you know what you're going to say, especially if you're nervous about speaking in front of people in case you have a big turnout. If that makes you nervous, practice, right? And then after the event, I need to follow up. Use this playbook. It has all the steps for how to create those smart plans, how to do all the follow-up, because it's really not about that day. That day is great. You're going to talk to a lot of people that day. But there's so much more for you to leverage in leading up to it and marketing that and getting all those contacts in the beginning, and then following up with all those people, both those who attended and those who didn't attend. This is a great opportunity to use your time well, to have so much more lead generation, so many more real estate conversations with lots of people kind of all at once. Any final thoughts, questions, comments before we end? Okay, Well, thanks everybody for attending. Sorry we had a little Zoom issues at the beginning. Hopefully that'll be resolved before our next Zoom. And I will see you in the office sometime. Feel free to go to my office and grab a printout if you want one.
All right, thanks, Kirsten.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you,
Bye.
Kirsten.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
bye.